Good afternoon and welcome to this fabulous building of Manchester Metropolitan University, and welcome you here today to launch the International Strategy for Greater Manchester. For those who remember, we had an international strategy 5 years ago, 5 and a bit years ago, which was implementing and seeing a growing number of connections around the world, growing amount of exports and FDI into Greater Manchester, and then we get hit by COVID. So we decided on a one-year interim plan last year, if you remember, and then we started a consultation exercise back in September to relaunch at the appropriate time our new international strategy. And this is the appropriate time. I'm Mike Blackburn. I'm Chair of the International Marketing Advisory Board for Greater Manchester, and it's my pleasure here to start off these proceedings today. We have some wonderful people still here, and the great thing about Manchester is the depth and scale of the talent that we have to be able to come and talk about the things that we need to talk about here today. So I won't go through the agenda in terms of the names, you've got those, but we will introduce them as they come up. But in true Marketing Manchester style and fashion, we're going to start with a video.
Manchester is a place I'm proud to call my hometown, and it's a hometown built on global trade. And a new chapter in the city's global history is being written. Around the world, there is a tremendous appetite for the best the city region has to offer. From Uncle Joe's legendary mint balls to Informed Solutions, world-leading IT consultancy. And together, by tearing down barriers to trade and promoting exports, we can satisfy this demand. That's why it's fantastic that so many partners, businesses and officials from across the city region have come together today to support this international strategy. Companies from Greater Manchester exported more than £6 billion worth of goods in 2020. And DIT's pioneering free trade agreements are generating even more opportunities. We have already agreed trade deals with 70 countries plus the EU. Our first from scratch agreements with Australia and New Zealand have removed tariffs on all UK exports. And just last month, we entered the final phase of negotiations to accede to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which will open a huge gateway from Manchester's businesses to one of the world's largest and fastest growing trading areas. My department is also working to help businesses go further and faster in markets beyond our shores. We have put our money where our mouth is by funding more international trade advisors across the north. Our expert advisors provide free and impartial support to hundreds of businesses, allowing them to harness DIT's global network. Since 2016, there have been more than 100 Northern Powerhouse trade missions to global markets, and over 2,000 businesses have taken part. And next week, I'm delighted to be joining Mayors Burnham and Rotherham on the joint Manchester-Liverpool trade mission to Dublin to help fly the flag for our brilliant businesses. I couldn't be more confident that my hometown has the world-class goods and services that people the world over are demanding. And that together, as Manchester has done so many times before, we can unleash this great city's full trading potential. Thank you.
I congratulate the Greater Manchester Authority on the launch of their international strategy to promote trade and investment between the Manchester city region and India. This is indeed a very welcome initiative, as Manchester seems to be a very popular destination for Indian investors. I gather that there are more than 30 Indian companies already present in the region. I'm happy to learn that there are currently 49 proposals already under processing for more projects in this region, which will create more jobs. And I've learned that this historic city is home to about 55,000 members of the Indian diaspora. They are playing their role of the living bridge most enthusiastically, promoting trade and investment between the Manchester city region and India.
At Visit Britain, we warmly welcome the launch of Greater Manchester's international strategy. Greater Manchester has always been an international-facing city region with connections to all corners of the globe, making it an important gateway to Britain in the north of England. It's great to see that tourism plays an important part in your strategy. Often, the first time people experience a destination is as a visitor, prompting a decision to return, to study, do business or invest. International collaboration has never been more important than now after 2 years of relative isolation, and will enable global Britain to recover and demonstrate that we are open for business. I am confident that your strategy will help support and ensure that the economic benefits of tourism are felt not only within Greater Manchester, but more widely across the country.
Recently, I had the opportunity to visit Manchester, and I must admit, I was completely blown away by the talent, bold ideas, and incredible tech ecosystem, especially in digital technologies and cyber infrastructure. I was most impressed by the city's incredible talent pool. Plus, talking to people and visiting companies, I discovered that the cost of living is much more reasonable than you would find in most major metropolitan areas. So it's really no-brainer for people to join Manchester's greater tech community. So any company that is based here in North America, or frankly anywhere else, looking for a great infrastructure, great cultural surroundings to set up their business, Manchester is a place to be.
It's great to see such a wonderful array of our international and local business arrangements and business partners, governmental partners on those video clips today, and are some here in the room today. And I'd like to welcome onto the stage the Deputy High Commissioner for India, Mr. Sujit Ghosh, to say a few words.
Well, good evening, everybody. Let me first congratulate the organizers on the launch of this strategy. Since we are talking about partnerships, and one of the essential component of partnership is that you should have information about your partners. So let me just give you a small brief on how we are doing in terms of India-UK relations, and how is India doing in terms of its economy. We are already witnessing, an enhancement of India-UK bilateral ties under the 2030 roadmap, which was announced in May 2021 as part of the historic commitment made by our two Prime Ministers to strengthen partnership between the UK and India over the next decade, covering areas such as health, climate, trade, education, science and technology, and defence. In the context of India-UK ties, we stand at the threshold of a new era, of a transformative relationship. So our FTA negotiations are progressing well. The second round of talks just concluded. Today India is ready to help the UK in vital sectors such as the NHS, e-governance, modernization of school and banking platforms, as even homemakers across Britain who have discovered the IT way to do routine things. India's robust economic performance has been one of the leading positive stories of growth during the COVID period, which otherwise has witnessed an overhang of instability and pessimism worldwide. Why I would like to tell you about India is because if you want to partner India, you should know what India is all about, because when I spoke to some of my colleagues earlier in the day, they know about India a lot in terms of culture, in terms of history. But I don't think there's enough awareness of what we are doing in terms of our economy. We recently made a lot of investments on modernizing our digital and physical infrastructure, received unprecedented momentum during this period. The progress made in fintech has been impressive. We've already initiated the process to connect more than 6 lakh villages in India through an optical fiber network. An investment of $1.3 trillion USD is being made on creating fresh connectivity and infrastructure, and that is a big opportunity for all of you in this hall. Again, pharma provides huge opportunities for cooperation. Today, India is the world's 3rd largest pharma producer. You all know the role the Indian health professionals and doctors made during COVID time. In terms of fresh thinking and fresh thought when it comes to business ideas, India has the 3rd largest number of unicorns in the world. More than 10,000 startups have been registered in the last few months itself. So again, there is an opportunity there. Today, India has a huge, secure and successful digital payments platform. Just to give you a small example, we touched a figure of 4.4 billion transactions through Unified Payments Interface in December 2021. In terms of ease of doing business also, we've been constantly making progress. So we've carried out several structural reforms, which like a nationwide GST, insolvency and bankruptcy code, reduction in corporate tax rates, and so on. So that really helps in terms of ease of doing business. India is also, inviting fresh investments in terms of production-linked investment schemes worth 26 billion, which have been implemented in 14 sectors. There's a new rollout in the domain of chip and display industry, and we are moving ahead with the spirit of Make in India, and there's again enough room in this area for partnership. Climate and green finance is something which is of great interest to you. So I'm very happy to report to you that India is taking decisions keeping in mind not just the present but also the future in terms of the next 25 years in terms of perspective planning. This period of growth will be green, clean, sustainable and reliable. India has set a target of net zero, as you all know, by 2070. India, with 17% of the world's population, may contribute 5%, only 5% in global carbon emission, but our commitment to tackle climate challenge is 100%. Initiatives like International Solar Alliance and Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure for Climate Adaptation are proof of this. As a result of the efforts of the past years, today 40% of our energy mix is coming from non-fossil fuel sources. We have already achieved the commitments made by India in Paris 9 years before their target. To conclude, I would just like to reiterate what Prime Minister Modi, has said in his mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, and Sabka Prayas, which if I try to translate into English, would be working together for inclusive development for all while securing the trust and contribution of all. For us, development is a partnership. It's not a one-way road, and it should be accessible to all and benefit everyone. So I invite you to partner India in terms of trade, in terms of investments, in terms of co-development, in terms of technology development. And if there's anything that we could do at the High Commission to facilitate all this, please feel free to get in touch with us. Thanks a lot. Thank you. I think I've done my 4 minutes, and thanks for giving me that extra time. Thank you.
Deputy High Commissioner, thank you very much indeed, and we would echo those words of partnership. Thank you very much indeed. It's now time to get much closer to home and introduce one of our own, Councillor Elise Wilson, Leader of Stockport Council and the Combined Authorities Lead for Business and the Economy. Elise.
Oh, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for attending today. Welcome to the launch of the Greater Manchester International Strategy. It is how we connect with and lead in a changing world, because the world is changing. Climate change requires us to look after our planet better and rethink how we do things. The pandemic has had a severe impact on key sectors, shaken up supply chains and accelerated the adoption of digital technology and focused our attention on social inequalities. Brexit has changed our relationship with one of our largest markets and renewed focus on engagement with others. And the invasion of Ukraine has served as a reminder of how connected we are and the importance of international relations. Long-held assumptions, long-term projections, and the basic beliefs about how things work are being challenged. But let me tell you something. When the world is in a state of flux, the resilient must be ready. And those who do things differently are best placed to respond. When the world has questions, it is regions who innovate, regions with answers that serve it best. And when the world faces uncertainty, at least in my experience, a bold northern swagger can help bring back confidence. So yes, we face a different world, but the world faces a different Greater Manchester. Nowhere is better placed at the heart of a resurgent north to respond to shared global challenges and contribute to global Britain. A region whose molten mix of diverse people, from diverse places, finds light in the heat of debate, and transforms challenges into possibilities and into world firsts. A region where ethos of economic, environmental and social progress run through all that we do. Ideas alongside ideals, value alongside values. And a region that is ready, be it Bolton or Bury, Tameside or Trafford, or Salford to Stockport, and all the points in between. Because we already have so many strengths in our favour, we have a global profile, from the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution to the beginning of social movements, celebrated football teams to scientific breakthroughs. Greater Manchester regularly outranks larger competitor regions. And we have global networks. Greater Manchester is the key diplomatic hub in the north. Partnerships with key city regions in Europe, China, India, South Asia, Japan, the USA are strengthened by a combined authority and an elected mayor. And we have global connections. Manchester International Airport is the North's gateway, connecting a £350 billion economy to cities from New York to Dubai, supporting trade and investment and increasing international students and visitors. Now we must use these strengths to do more, because doing more is the Greater Manchester way, working as a collective to compete on a world stage. It's not just fundamental to growth, it's fundamental to who we are. Our reach always exceeds our grasp, connecting and competing for growth both within Greater Manchester and beyond. It's synonymous with our region and has been since the Industrial Revolution. It has led to the creation of unique partnerships. It has brought cultural, social and economic benefits, including our diversity. In turn, it has developed a will to do things differently. It has made us who we are, outward-looking, open, pioneering, innovative and international. And because we are international, it means our international ambitions are in lockstep with the work at home to become a greener, fairer and more prosperous region. We are one Greater Manchester with one approach and one outlook, playing our part in lockstep with Levelling Up and Global Britain, rebalancing opportunities across the UK and reinvesting in relationships on the world stage. The priorities in the international strategy set this out. Growing the 250,000 people employed in our region in foreign-owned companies. Increasing exports that boost productivity. Increasing the number and diversity of international students at our world-class universities who contribute so much to our region. And it includes reinforcing our reputation as a world-leading innovator in digital, in green, in health, in advanced materials and manufacturing. We were the pioneers of the Industrial Revolution, and we will lead the green and digital revolutions. Of course we will. Because above all else, the international strategy is in lockstep with your ambition for our city region. It's a blueprint to serve the unique partnerships that you belong to that shape our success. And it is an invitation for others to be part of it, to join us as we connect with and lead in this changing world. Thank you.
We're just going to have a few questions with Elise while she's here. Elise, we're here talking about the international strategy, and a huge part of that is international relations, and we couldn't start a conference like this without thinking about the importance of international relations in the context of what's going on in Eastern Europe, in Ukraine. And you and the Mayor, other leaders of the city here, city region, other business leaders have been quite active in that kind of area. you want to express a view on that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we absolutely here in Greater Manchester stand in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. The mayor has spoken a number of times and contacted the mayor in Ukraine directly. He has also attended various events across the city region. We have a large community of Ukrainian people that live here in Greater Manchester, and of course, it is no surprise that Greater Manchester is the welcoming, arms wide open place that you would expect us to be. We have always and consistently opened our doors and opened our arms to those who've needed support and help, and that and we've always been quite united in the spirit and compassion of the people here in Greater Manchester. So yeah, our thoughts and are with the people in Ukraine, absolutely.
Thank you for that. Obviously, Andy's not here, but I've known you at a personal level. I've seen how the mayor operates at events like COP26 in Glasgow and building city-to-city relationships, diplomatic relationships. What's it like?
C'est très très bien. Quand on était à COP26 à Glasgow, c'était un honneur de pouvoir avoir des relations avec les maires, surtout la maire de Paris, où on a pu, Anne Hidalgo, donc on a pu avoir de grandes discussions sur les défis en commun qui étaient vraiment impressionnants, le fait de pouvoir avoir ces relations, ces conversations entre nous. So I guess in English, that's basically the opportunity to be with the, you know, to be with the mayor and see how having a mayor allows you to have conversations with other mayors. And when we met the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, the opportunity to talk about shared challenges, certainly around climate change, and how we can have deeper conversations. And I guess when you speak a language, it makes a difference, and being able to be part of that, but again, it isn't just Paris. It's how we've been able to work with, Japanese trade missions. It was we were also involved in work with Barcelona on the Big Booster program in Barcelona, and I think on Sunday we go on a trade mission to Ireland. So it's a real opportunity to draw links from community to community, whether that's business community to business community, but communities generally, and building relationships that set us on the right foot.
I knew my GCSE French would come in useful one day. Of course, we've got things like the Manchester-China Partnership, the Manchester-China Forum, the Manchester-India Partnership here in Greater Manchester, bringing the public and the private sectors together for the benefit of all people in all those nations. What's been happening in that kind of area?
A lot's been happening. I think any relationship takes time to build, and the things that these, organisations, whether it's the China Forum or the India Partnership, is a building of those relationships going forward, and it's a testament to the people involved to want to keep doing that. So I think that's the important thing. It's a commitment to continuing to meet and to continue to build on those relationships. And it was an honour to have the Deputy High Commissioner here with us today.
Indeed. And the final question. And I can't not ask one about Stockport. It's great to see that Stockport is going to be showcased in the up-and-coming visit to Ireland through the clean growth aspects. The city and the nation of Ireland working together alongside Liverpool.
It is, and of course I'm delighted Stockport's in there. But I think it's the relationship between towns and cities, isn't it? It's actually, it's us as a city region. We are better as the collective, as an ecosystem of different areas, bringing what is our best, putting our best foot forward, so to speak. Stockport has a lot to offer, not least the work that we're doing in regenerating the town centre, and I'm delighted that the mayor backed our mayoral development corporation. But it isn't just Stockport. In Rochdale we've got AMPI. This is an incredibly important project that we've got, and really helps to build the economy, build our ideas, deliver new jobs for people, and showcase us as the innovators that we are here in Greater Manchester.
And so from me, I wish you the very best of luck on that trip next week. It's really important that we haven't done one for some time now, and hopefully it's the first of many that the business community can get involved with as well as move forward. Elise Wilson, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
So So we're just going to move on to our next speaker now, which is a great welcome to Jenny Watling, who's Vice-Chancellor of International at Manchester Metropolitan University. Over to you, Jenny.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and Mike, thank you for the promotion. I'm a pro-Vice-Chancellor, but I'm happy to be a Vice-Chancellor. I don't know how my Vice-Chancellor would feel about that, but thank you very much. So first of all, welcome everybody to Manchester Metropolitan University. We are absolutely delighted that our campus, and this building in particular, have been chosen to launch the Greater Manchester International Strategy. Grosvenor East, the building that we are in, is a great new addition to the cultural heart of the university. It's home to the Manchester Poetry Library, the Manchester Theatre School that we are sitting in the theatre of right at this very moment, and our very famous Manchester Writing School. It links Oxford Road to our cultural quarter, which includes the Manchester School of Art and the new Soda building. So if you weren't aware of our cultural quarter before that, I'm sure you are now. And please do come back. But this building is also a part of Manchester's international history. It was the venue in 1945 of the 5th Pan-African Congress, which was a crucial event bringing together key figures in the African independence movement at a time when collaboration and innovation in Manchester really had global impact. And that collaboration and innovation continue today. Greater Manchester's higher education institutions recently signed a civic university agreement aimed at helping the region deliver social, economic, and environmental change, improving education and skills, reducing inequalities, boosting jobs and growth, delivering net zero, and making us leaders in digital, creative, and the cultural economies. Greater Manchester's universities are a driving force for change, whether that's through the research and innovation that we do to solve global problems, the partnerships we create around the world, or through the pipeline of skills that we supply to the city region and further afield. We are here to help deliver this international strategy and make Manchester a great global city. Manchester Metropolitan is very proud to be a part of these endeavours. We are developing local solutions to global issues. For example, our researchers are finding green energy solutions through our Hydrogen Fuel Cell Centre, helping people age better through the work of our Institute of Sport, and the writing school that I mentioned previously had a critical part to play in Manchester becoming a UNESCO City of Literature. In partnership with GMCA, we are at the forefront of helping Manchester become global leaders in digital technologies through our School of Digital Arts, and working with other Northwestern universities through the cyber and AI foundries to support local business. Of course, we mustn't forget the importance of our global student body, which has an impact on both the local economy and the cultural diversity of Manchester, making this a truly vibrant university city. There are over 30,000 students from outside the UK in Manchester, represented by over 170 nationalities. And according to a recent report, the net impact of international students in the city of Manchester in 2019 was £211 million. When choosing a Manchester institution, students are buying into the whole experience that the city has to offer, not just the academic experience. And each of these students ends up with a place in their heart for this fantastic city. As well as becoming potential future employees of local firms, business or research partners, they also become ambassadors for the city. They become honorary Mancunians and lifelong friends of Manchester. We know that together, through collaboration and innovation and tapping into that incredible Manchester spirit, we can make this city the global powerhouse that it deserves to be. Thank you.
Let's move on to our panel session. Thank you very much, Jenny. Let's move on to our panel session now, and we're going to welcome to the stage our moderator for the panel session, Jessica Bowles, who's Director of Strategic Partnerships at Bruntwood. The panel is going to be Andy Clark, Head of Public Affairs at Manchester Airport Group, Helen Jones, Director of Global Engagement and Strategy at Science Museum Group, Councillor Abdul Jabbar, Deputy Leader of Oldham and Chair of the GM Bangladesh Partnership Board, Steve Keaton, Nippon Electric Glass, and Elizabeth Vega, Group Chief Executive Officer, Informed Solutions. Please welcome all to the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to try and moderate what I think could be a really interesting discussion over the next 15 or 20 minutes. Hopefully you'll see in action some of the themes that come through from the international strategy. I wanted to just say one or two things before I start. So I'm part of a group called Innovation Greater Manchester, which is a private sector-led group working with the public sector and academia here within Greater Manchester, which is really trying to capitalise on the amazing innovation that we have in our city region and really look at how we strengthen and deepen the commercialisation of the research and development that we do and those global strengths that we have here in the city region, those strengths around advanced manufacturing and materials, health innovation, green technology, digital and creative, and really see how that can work much more deeply across the city region and into our businesses, generating jobs, money and growth, and those international partnerships which are really at the core of that activity. I think you'll see some amazing innovation as we talk to the panel this afternoon, and you will have heard some of it already, but I want to sort of leave you with the thought that innovation is central to Manchester's history, but also to its future. So I'm going to start by asking Andy Clark from the airport to talk a bit about connectivity. You know, the pandemic clearly had a pretty massive impact on the aviation industry and on Manchester Airport itself. It is heading back towards full recovery over the next few years, and we want to increase both the value of international and business tourism arrivals through the airport over those next few years. So, Andy, perhaps you could talk to me about what you think those major factors are in achieving these aims.
Yeah, so I think the pandemic has been really difficult for the airport. ONS data shows that air transport was one of the most affected sectors out of the pandemic. So it will take time to recover. We've started to see that recovery happening. So we're currently at sort of 60% of 2019 levels. So passenger numbers are recovering quite quickly. I think it will take a while for the business travel to come back. How we make that happen, I think, is a continuation of some of the work that was done pre-COVID, particularly the work we did with Marketing Manchester, the Combined Authority, Manchester China Forum, when we were launching new routes to places like China, and talking very confidently about the benefits that that international connectivity brings. So we have all this collateral that says the routes to China created things like a 141% increase in the amount of Chinese internships, and that directly benefited people from working class backgrounds who otherwise wouldn't have had that opportunity. it's really powerful when we go into negotiations with airlines about building new routes and creating those new routes, that we can go in with our partners and say we are all here speaking from the same hymn sheet and we're all on the same agenda. I think that's why the international strategy is really important. And ultimately, we've got to get people excited again about why travel and connectivity is so important, talking about the personal and social benefits of it as well. So I benefited from international connectivity in that I met my wife on a school trip to China. I think, you know, we still have shady memories of meeting her at a Burger King Manchester Airport, funnily enough. And 10 years later, we're somehow still together. But I think on a more serious point, it's about talking about travel and how that can raise aspirations, how it can contribute to levelling up, how it can create opportunities so that someone in Stockport or Salford or Moss Side or wherever can think, actually, there is no reason why I can't create an international business with the help of partners in Greater Manchester.
Thank you, and I think we will hear a little bit more about that and some examples of where that's been tremendously important as we go through. You know, the airport is such a significant asset for the city region, but also for the north as a whole, with all of the routes and connectivity that provides. And well, before too long, we'll have HS2 connecting to it as well. So, Helen, you are from the Science Museum Group. We've got Manchester Science Museum, Science and Industry Museum here, which tells the story of the city. But could you, it clearly again, this sounds slightly negative again, but the pandemic had a massive impact on leisure and tourism industry, but we also see huge optimism as more money and investment has gone into assets in the city around Castlefield with Factory and with Castlefield Viaduct, which is our own version of the High Line, better of course, and coming forward with the help of the National Trust, and obviously your own redevelopment of the Science and Industry Museum. Are you optimistic when you weigh the balance of the hit you've had and the opportunities that come?
Yes, well, I mean, you're right. We did take a hit, as everyone did, and it has been very, very difficult. But yes, we are optimistic. As we've reopened our museums in Manchester and across the north and in London, we've seen a great appetite for visiting. And this is why we're investing in the Science and Industry Museum very much. We opened a brand new special exhibitions gallery last year, and the exhibition that's there now, it sounds depressing, but it's actually really uplifting about cancer revolution and about the latest research. That will transfer from Manchester to London, which is a great direction to be going in. And its next exhibition will be very international in nature, Amazonia, photographs by Sebastian Salgado. Now, you will see that the site is very shrouded in scaffolding at the moment. So there is a bit of a pause, but this is because we're optimistic. We're really investing in the buildings, in making the site greener, and it really will be bigger and better. Visitation to date, since we reopened, has been largely local and British, but there's fantastic potential for rebuilding even bigger international audiences than we had before. I mean, thinking about wider investment in the city, you might think we see things like the Factory and new venues as competitors, but actually it's not just about growing our own slice of the pie, be that the Science and Industry Museum or Manchester, but about growing a bigger pie altogether. There's so much to offer, and I think we think about our own sites, but we think about the city and the region, and how Manchester and the national effort can be more integrated. And I think that's the beauty of the strategy, and it's so important to promote the regions as well as and thereby the UK.
Thank you, Helen. I mean, I think that sense of how culture plays into a place is so critical. You need interesting places as well as ones with jobs and houses, I've always thought. I'm going to move on. Councillor Jabbar, we've talked a little bit today. I think it's come through the sense of community connection that we have, and our connections to our overseas friends. And Elise talked very movingly about our connection to the Ukrainian community. But and it's one of the things that I've always loved about the city, that we can find those connections internationally everywhere we look. I was wondering if you could give a community perspective about how it makes you feel and how it contributes to your sense of place here in Greater Manchester.
Yeah, thanks very much for that. Yeah, I think Greater Manchester, we're lucky, because we've got three things that's going for us, and which puts us in a really good position in terms of international business investment and so on. So if you look as a Greater Manchester, with the hub of the diplomatic front, so you saw the Deputy High Commissioner of India, but we've got strong links with European cities, with South Asian cities, as well as Japan, as well as USA. So we got the diplomatic hub in Greater Manchester. That's a brilliant thing. The second thing is we've got an elected mayor. So people can talk and other mayors can talk. And in some countries, they have elected mayor, and that makes it a lot easier for us. And the third thing is we've got the Greater Manchester Combined Authority. So it's not just the Manchester City itself, but 9 others included in it in GM. So I think that puts us in a great setting for international relationship and diplomacy. I think the second thing is, which Councillor Wilson touched on earlier on, is our ambition is to create a greener, fairer, more prosperous city region. And if you look at those, these are challenges, but also shared by other region across the globe, including the mayors. So I was with Andy Burnham and Councillor Wilson at the COP26, and we were talking about, obviously, climate change and the fight against climate change. And when we started talking, they're doing actually very similar things to ourselves. For example, transport. There was lots of similarities with Barcelona, with Melbourne, in terms of what they were doing and what we're doing. So that just gives a immediate engagement and connectivity with the various cities about what we want to do. So that's really important. But I think we recognise in Greater Manchester that, in terms of dealing with the inequality and sort of building our solidarity, that we need to offer a hand of friendship, a hand of help to other cities, and we're up for that. And I think, again, the earlier speakers talked about that. That's just not because of our international strategy, it's because of who we are. That's the makeup of the people and the spirit of Greater Manchester, I think. The other point that I wanted to make, and this is relating to my second role, is that in GM we have a lot of people from Greater Manchester who came and played a part in the Industrial Revolution, but also building up our industry when skills were short. That's how my father came to this country in the early 60s. And what we've been doing is working with the Mayor of Sylhet City Corporation to help them to develop a waste management strategy, which will help them to actually meet their aspiration to be a carbon neutral country by 2050. And I think, just sharing what we're doing here is an enormous help to them. And in 2020, we set up the Greater Manchester Bangladesh Partnership Board after Andy visited the country in October 2019. So it's another great example of where we can work together for the mutual benefit, but actually addressing the climate change issue is a global one. And by just sharing our knowledge is brilliant in that front.
I think, unless you've got one more point.
Just one more point. One more point.
Because I wanted to make sure you got those 2 points in.
I'd be in trouble with the people who wrote this script if I don't get this one in.
Oh my God, we're all going to be in trouble this afternoon.
The last point is this. Look, this is a brilliant place. It comprises of 10 districts. There are lots of opportunities in terms of business and so on. And we need to promote all the different districts within that and the businesses and all the other organizations within that. And I genuinely believe, GM has a great offer internationally. And the trick is, as the High Commissioner was saying, Deputy High Commissioner was saying, is how do we have the joined-up thinking and the partnership so we're able to benefit mutually. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'm terribly sorry for cutting in there. But I think we're going to come on to Steve now, who, thank you very much for stepping in for somebody who was COVID-stricken this afternoon. Steve, your business, we had a few minutes conversation before we started, is one that has been based here in Greater Manchester for a very long time, near Wigan, but also has had massive global investments from Germany and from Japan, but over its history. But do you want to talk a little bit about why you're here in Greater Manchester and what your business does?
Yes, I think aside from the historic fact, which is why the company began in this area. We stay in this area because we're quite a unique manufacturing industry. We manufacture reinforcement fiberglass. The glass industry is quite endemic in this area. There's a rich history. I'm pleased there was a bit of a collaboration there with Liverpool because there's a lot of it over in St Helens, which is just outside the region. The skills that we need in our industry is quite unique. And to attract that talent and retain that talent is massively important for us. And we're an advanced manufacturer. We manufacture basically the reinforcement material for composite materials. So we're the very backbone of the green economy. A lot of our product goes into wind turbine blades and the lightweighting of automotive vehicles. Electric vehicles are a massive growth area for us at the moment, and we collaborate well with our partners. And in the Greater Manchester area, we have things like the AMP, mentioned earlier, the Advanced Manufacturers Forum, and then institutions such as the GEIC that we work with to try and explore the opportunities of commercialisation in graphene and our product to see whether we can benefit the wider community in greener jobs, because all of our jobs service the green industry around the world. So the people are the biggest draw, the skills that we need, the collaborations that we can sort of create with the partners around the Greater Manchester and Liverpool regions. They're the most important things, I think, that keep us here.
Brilliant. And I think that use of our R&D strengths in advanced materials through graphene and the GEIC is really interesting. And you're a long-established business, and this is a new technology, but actually finding ways of using those local innovations to really power your business on. So brilliant. Thank you very much. Elizabeth, we're going to talk now, a final theme really is around exports, and we have, I think it's £7 billion worth of exports of products in the city region, from the city region, and 9 billion of services, and you export your business to I think 40 countries, This is something that we see drives higher productivity, and what more do you think you could do to encourage others, or we could do to encourage others to export?
I think a lot of people consider export a big adventure outside of what they know, and I don't think they appreciate how much support is available, not just, of course, from the Department of International Trade, but actually from other people that have done the journey before. And also to understand the benefits to a business of using international trade as part of their growth strategy. It's one of the levers that you can use. It makes your business more resilient, it makes you more competitive, it makes you more adaptable, and it also actually improves your product, it improves your competitiveness. And these are all value-added benefits from actually just literally being prepared to take that step offshore, as it were, and to have people that will actually support you in that journey. I think the other side of it is it benefits also your community. It's not just for the benefit of your own business. When you have an ecosystem, as we do in Greater Manchester, particularly where there is a strategic intent, like, for example, with the international strategy, but also with the Northern Powerhouse Export Strategy, of course, the Greater Manchester is at the heart of that. What you realise is you are creating not just jobs, but high-value skilled jobs. Because of the nature of the business that you're running, you're creating opportunities for other companies in your region, but also for people. That investment in itself, as we've discussed today, it creates a hub which is very desirable. You have access to skills, you have access to companies that are mature and competitive and innovative. You have access really to international airports and great serviced by international transportation network. And of course, that means that your inbound investment, your inward investment is also higher quality investment. And that's a really important point. So I can't emphasize enough how much international trade is an enabler for ambitions. And one of the things that I think is very powerful about Greater Manchester and the combined authority is that it is okay to be ambitious. It is good to be ambitious, to want to improve. We discussed levelling up. Well, what does that mean? It means wanting to do things better. And that, of course, means greener, so that we have more sustainable business, but also healthier and safer.
Brilliant, thank you. I think that's so interesting, isn't it? That interconnectedness of the economy and how each part drives the other part. And I think you can see that from all of the contributions we've had this afternoon. I think I'm sort of left with the thoughts that innovation, partnership, and international outlook are all part of what makes Manchester and will continue to make Manchester in the future. And we've heard about the 5 core themes of the strategy: connectivity, the visitor economy, global trade and investment, and community. And I'd just like to wrap up by thanking all the panellists, Councillor Jabbar, Andy, Helen, Elizabeth and Steve. So if you'll give them all a round of applause.
And let's not forget a huge thank you to you, Jessica, as well, for doing that and bringing it on time as well. Thank you. We're now coming to our final 2 speakers of the afternoon, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Councillor Ruthul Rahman, Deputy Leader of Manchester City Council, on the importance of culture.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. It's been an honour to have been the Culture Portfolio Lead in Manchester over the last 5 years, and importantly to have supported the sector throughout the pandemic. I'm delighted to be able to talk to you today about the importance of culture in Manchester as an international city. Arts and culture are an intrinsic part of life in Manchester. The city is home to world-class cultural organisations and presents an enviable programme of live music, festivals and events throughout the year. The city's reputation for creativity and diversity was an important factor in the city being nominated as the 3rd best city in the world by Time Out magazine in 2021. Of course, Manchester has a long and proud history of working with international partners on cultural projects and has played a key role in the positioning and promotion of Manchester and the city region as an open, welcoming and cosmopolitan international leading cultural place to visit. Cultural relations, collaborations and exchanges are powerful tools to initiate conduct and maintain dialogue with international partners. Our pre-pandemic analysis of the impact of the cultural sector in 2019-2020 shows that the cultural sector in Manchester generates over £280 million of economic value, reaching 5.4 million audience members, 740,000 participants, and engaging 184 of the 187 Manchester schools in a wide-ranging programme of activities. This was clearly impacted heavily throughout the pandemic, and the Council has been working hard to support the sector so we can return to the world-class and richly diverse cultural offer the city is known for. Manchester leads many cultural activities with a number of international cities and partners. For example, Chemnitz has been designated European Capital of Culture for 2025, together with Nova and Slovenia. In the run-up to the designation, Manchester received several reciprocal visits to support this bid. This included the Mayor of Chemnitz, then the Deputy Mayor for Resources and Finance and the head of the bid in 2017. We are proud to have played a part in this bid and look forward to seeing activities in Chemnitz in 2025. Manchester City Council plays an essential role in supporting the internationally renowned Manchester International Festival, a critical fixture in shining a spotlight on new and innovative art in the city. And of course, the new world-class cultural performance space that is being developed, the Factory, to be the permanent home for MIF will also bring further opportunities to the city for artists and residents alike. The Council also has a key role in supporting other internationally recognised cultural gems, including the National Football Museum, Manchester Museum, Manchester Art Gallery, the Whitworth Home, and the Manchester Jewish History Museum. Manchester also has a number of key international cultural partnerships. These include the UNESCO Creative Cities and City of Literature. In 2017, UNESCO designated Manchester a member of the Creative Cities Network in the field of literature. In order to manage the designation, the charity Manchester City of Literature was set up with core funding from the City Council and the universities. Since then, the staff team have developed the first Festival of Libraries in 2011, with the second edition to follow in 2022. And the International Mother Language Day celebrating Manchester's linguistic diversity was 2021, not 2011. In 2019, Manchester joined the International Music Cities Network to connect to 8 other music cities: Aarhus, Berlin, Gothenburg, Groningen, Hamburg, Nantes, and Sydney. We are learning from each other and implementing projects and programs that benefit artists and practitioners in Manchester and which will enhance our international profile. In early 2019, the Danish Cities collaboration began as Manchester signed a Memorandum of Understanding on cultural collaboration with the cities of Aarhus and Aalborg. The signing ceremony in Aalborg was attended by civic and arts sector representatives from the 3 cities, the Danish Arts Minister, representatives from the Danish Agency for Culture and Palaces, Arts Council England, and the Danish Embassy in London. The MOU established a framework between the cities for collaboration on arts and culture, focusing on 3 priority areas: arts and health, children and young people, and urban development and design. Following research undertaken by BOP, Global Research Organisation for Culture, in 2019, the Council established the Manchester Network for Cultural and Creative Collaboration with China Steering Group, chaired by the Director of Culture, to coordinate stakeholders' engagement with China and promote culture on a reciprocal basis. The steering group is attended by the British Council, both the universities, Manchester China Forum, Centre for Contemporary Chinese Arts, and the City Council. A pilot exchange project for artists in Manchester took place in China in 2020-2021. The Council's culture team also worked closely with the Eurocities Culture Forum as part of the Council's membership of the Eurocities, most recently on the working group Cultural Services and Culture for Inclusive Cities. Ensuring that the cultural sector in Manchester is inclusive is a key priority for us in the coming years. In addition, we are planning for a key strategic project in 2023 that will play a significant role in international culture. I am delighted to say that Manchester has been successful with its request to host the International Society for Performing Arts Mid-Year Congress in 2023. There are 2 annual congresses each year, one in New York in the winter and one in a city elsewhere in the world in spring or summer. Art managers, promoters, and artists gather to discuss policy and practice, pitch and promote new work, and make connections. The Manchester Congress will be held in June 2023, just before the start of the Manchester International Festival 2023, to showcase Manchester's performing arts sector and venues, including the Factory. In addition, we are working to secure further international cultural connections. The Worldwide Music Expo, with approximately 2,500 delegates, is considered the most important international professional market of world music and takes place in October each year. It is an opportunity to enhance Manchester's international reputation as a music city and to showcase organisations, events and projects which celebrate the diversity of music making in our city, support talent development and connect the event programme to our residents. Manchester Partners submitted a bid to host Womex in 2024. It was confirmed recently that Manchester has been shortlisted, and we are preparing to welcome the organisers for a site visit in 2022 to discuss the detailed proposal. As you can see, the depth and breadth of the cultural offer in Manchester is immense, and I look forward to working with everyone in here, the Greater Manchester Combined Authority, to further enhance Manchester's international reputation and Greater Manchester's international reputation. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Councillor Rahman. Now we're coming on to the final speaker of the day, who's going to close off and bring it all together. No challenge there then. Joanne Roney, Chief Executive, Manchester City Council. Joanne.
I get the unique opportunity of keeping you all from the sunshine, which is not a statement I often get to make in Manchester. So please bear with me. I know we've slightly overrun. Let me try and just summarise what you've heard here today at the launch of this international strategy. Global positioning has been at the heart of Manchester City's strategy for the past 30 years. And you've heard many examples already about our unique position to grow. And it is entirely right that if we as a city act as the arrowhead, we need the success to be for the city region as a whole. And that's what I think we've demonstrated today. Why is that success the envy of every other city I ever talked to? Well, it's because of the public and private sector partnerships that we have in this place that is absolutely core to our success. It is the way we collaborate. It is the way that we can produce a strategy and a vision that every single one of you will leave this room and sell, because it's your strategy, it's our strategy, and we all sign behind it to make it a success, whoever you collaborate with, export to, do business with, connect supply chains to, or whoever talent you develop. We have unique structures here between the city, the Combined Authority, the LEP, the universities, the Growth Company. I could go on and on. You've seen them here today. You've heard them here today. You've heard about us talk about the range of business opportunities that exist here. And you've heard us talk about the importance and the ongoing emphasis that we put on the city in culture and those wider global events. I want to thank all of you who have been here today speaking and telling us about the exciting things that are coming up, but also the experience and the talent that exists already with the partnerships that we've got. I've even sat here learning things myself that I thought I already knew, but clearly I didn't. It's non-stop, isn't it? The opportunities that are being created here as we speak. Lutfer talked about some of the cultural activities coming up, and I just wanted to say a little bit about how it isn't just the factory that we're delivering, it's how the factory acts as a catalyst in those neighbourhoods. What we're doing in places like Mayfield, Michael's, St John's, Victoria Gate, those huge neighbourhood regeneration programmes that are taking place in the city are still significantly internationally important. It really is no wonder that the DCMS decided to relocate their offices here in Manchester, and we welcome you. It's great to have you here. Of course, 2024 also sees us, and I say this with fingers crossed, open the completed Manchester Town Hall, the iconic building after a £324 million transformation. Iconic building in the centre of this city, which will bring global visitors in aplenty. And as you heard from the earlier speaker, often people come here to visit, and then they stay, and then they invest, and then they create their businesses. So I'm looking forward to that happening. You've heard us talk about connectivity and the importance of our connectivity and the connectivity between businesses and the significance of Manchester Airport. Great to hear the recovery taking place in Manchester Airport. Even more important for me was to discover that my future husband could be waiting for me in Burger King. I've told you that I learnt things today that I didn't know, and That's one that I have written down, and I'll keep you posted. We'll carry on developing the talent that already attracts people to this city. We're an increasingly young population here, and we are absolutely focused through the Combined Authority to ensuring that that talent pool gets developed at pace and at speed to meet those global demands that are coming here. We have a constant supply of new commercial development. You may or not already know this, but we have the highest levels of foreign direct investment in this city in the UK, and we actually are the most important economic centre outside of London. Let me be clear, we want London to succeed. The UK needs a successful London. London needs a successful city region in Manchester. I'll end by saying Manchester has been ranked as the best performing city in the UK for 4 consecutive years. I don't think COVID's going to dent that target or that ambition, or indeed those results. We've had a phenomenal amount of activity taking place in the most difficult of times. The strategy that you've heard today has been devised with all of that ambition being restated, recommitted to, broadened across the whole of Greater Manchester. I apologise that we're only the best city in the world. It's as Richard said, and Joanne, are you settled with that? Clearly I'm not. But we go in as a ranking of the 3rd best city of the world, as judged by Times Out magazine, following 2 years of the most difficult times for many of the people who live here. If that's our starting point, I'm going to tell you we're only going up. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Joanne, and I can hear the visitor numbers in Burger King going up as we speak. It falls to me now for 2 things, very quickly. First, I want to say thank you to all the speakers, the panellists, but most importantly for me, actually, I want to thank the team who put this together today, because the trials and tribulations they've had to put up with in the last hours, let alone days, have been fabulous, and they cope brilliantly well. So for me personally, and I'm sure on behalf of everybody here, thank you for the whole team for doing that. And secondly, we've had a lot of rhetoric here today because it's a conference. But this city is not built on rhetoric, it's built on action. And I've got 3 actions for you. First one, you're going to get an email from the team which will tell you how to download the strategy. Please download and read the strategy. It will also give you the second thing, it will tell you how to get involved in helping us deliver that strategy, what part you can play. And you can play significant parts. And you've heard of some of those today, of individuals and organisations, private and public, who are doing exactly that. Please get involved. And the third one, more immediately you could do, which people in the audience who know me know I will say this anyway. When you leave here today, I want you to take 3 things that you've heard today that you didn't know before. Not Burger King, please. 3 things you didn't know before. And I want you to share them with 3 people who are not here today, to amplify that message. Because if we can't amplify that message, then why are we here? You're here, we're here to learn, to develop this city region, to take it on the next growth imperative. And that's partly the thing I think you can do as soon as you leave this room. Tell 3 people what you've heard today, how fabulous it was, and how to get on that journey, how to download the strategy and how to be involved. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening. And please join us on that journey. Thank you.